Good evening, everyone. I appreciate all of you being here. My name is Lee Williamson. I am the founder of Pickens Seniors for Change. Before I start my presentation, I would like to introduce the chairman of the Republican Party, William Bell, and he would like to say a few things. William Bell.
I'd like to start by thanking you all for coming out tonight. I know this has been somewhat of a contentious issue, but as I've said at the other meetings, I feel like we can all come together and whatever solution we come up with is somewhere between the left and the right side of the issue. I think if we work together, we can come through with it. I'd also like to introduce David Robinson. He is the chairman of the Democrat Committee for Pickens County. I want to thank David for being here and engaging on this issue as well. As I said in my statements before, I want to make it clear that the Pickens County GOP is not endorsing either of the options shown on the straw poll. What we are endorsing is this group of citizens' rights to address their concerns over the current senior tax exemption. So I want to make that abundantly clear. There's been a lot of statements made in social media up until the last meeting, and then I think after a couple of newspaper articles, there's probably 1.5 million reasons why there's not been a lot of activity since. I'm sure that some of you will get that. Third, we will, if either of the proposed plans receives enough votes, work with the committees formed to create the legislation to be taken to our state representatives and our senators. Also, I want to clarify the legislative process that must be followed by our state constitution so that all parties concerned, as best we can, be fully aware of the process it requires to get back from Atlanta what you as voters and the stakeholders want to occur. And I use the example of our 3-person, 5-person commissioners straw poll of years ago. The majority of citizens wanted a 5-person board and a county manager. As we are all aware, this is not how it was ultimately structured in Atlanta. I say this so we all understand that the true final legislation will require multiple trips to the Capitol to track it through the process and achieve the goals of the majority of Pickens voters. Finally, I want to thank this police group of citizens for their hard work in this regard. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bell. As you are probably aware, 2 questions regarding the senior tax exemption will be placed on the May the 22nd primary ballot in the form of a straw poll for voters' approval. I know many of you, including myself, have been a bit confused about them. I've seen 3 different versions of the questions, but I have been assured that, and you should have a copy of this with you out from the table. I've been assured that this one is the one. Of the 2 questions, there is actually only one important selection to choose from, and that is the second one. I would definitely say no to question number 1, leave it as is. After all, that's what we are fighting to eliminate. Question number 2 is the only viable option to choose from. Now let's go over these. Option 1, continue without change. Now we definitely don't want that one. That's the less than $25,000 income, which includes the whole household's income. Number 2, option 2, continue, but with study commission. Leave in place the current law as described in option 1. And all that does is, until we get the exemption passed and in place, option number 1, which is the $25,000 or less income, will be used. Can't leave it without it. And, the big and down there, establish a commission that 1, shall hold forums to hear from citizens, businesses, Pickens County government and Pickens County schools regarding the existing senior exemption from school property taxes, and 2, shall forward to the Georgia General Assembly for the 2019 session recommendations on any desired changes to that exemption. The committee shall be appointed jointly by the Pickens County Republican Party and the Pickens County Democratic Committee. That is the option we want, number 2. We definitely don't want it to leave as is. Some of you have questions about how the tax exemption may affect the county and the school system. Our opponents always harp on the fact that a senior tax exemption will hurt our children in the school system. Nothing is further from the truth. I'm here to give you some information that will help you understand that a meaningful senior property tax exemption will not hurt our school system. Many people have the misconception that once the tax exemption is passed and enacted, it will be automatically granted whether they want it or not. That is not true. It is just like any other tax exemption. You go to the tax assessor's office, request the exemption, and present the required identification and information. I put the following calculations and information on a handout sheet if you can follow along if you wish. This is the one that's in red type. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, Pickens County has approximately 30,000 residents. Of that 30,000, approximately 20% of its residents are age 65 and older. A statement in the local newspaper in April of last year stated, of the $42,940,989 total school budget, $21,497,613 is collected locally in ad valorem taxes. If 20% of the local collections were exempted and the budget remained the same, it would require an additional 3.196 mills to be applied to those taxpayers who did not qualify for the exemption to make up for the shortfall. Except for the dollar amounts, that statement is inaccurate. If you multiply 30,000 by 20%, it gives an answer of 6,000. That's 6,000 individuals who are age 65 and over, not 6,000 homes. We are taxed per residence, not per person. Except for those who are widowed, seniors usually live to a house. So if you assume there are 3,000 males and 3,000 females in that 6,000 total, that's a possible 3,000 homes. Now we're looking at 10% and an estimated projected tax mill increase of 1.59. Actually, the U.S. Census Bureau in Atlanta says there are 2,767 males and 3,047 females aged 65 and over living in Pickens County. As stated in the Northwest Georgia Regional Commission report, there are approximately 14,139 housing units in Pickens, and 8,696 of those are owner-occupied. The U.S. Census Bureau of Atlanta states there are approximately 2,902 homes owned and occupied by people aged 65 and over. My calculations show that this age group pays only 3.3% of the school taxes. According to that same Northwest Georgia Regional Commission report, the average home value in Pickens County is $182,429. However, we pay taxes on the fair market value as assessed by the county. Information gleaned from the Tax Commissioner's Office states that the average fair market value of homes in Pickens County is around $150,000. We pay taxes on 40% of the fair market value. So multiply $150,000 by 40% and subtract the allowed homestead deduction of $5,000. That gives $55,000 that a house with an average fair market value of $150,000 has to pay taxes on. If you multiply the $55,000 by the 2016 county tax mill rate of 0.007953, that calculates to $437 owed in county taxes. Multiply that same $55,000 by the 2016 school tax mill rate of 0.01598, and that calculates to $879 at a home with an average fair market value of $150,000 pays in school taxes. So by this calculation, we could say that the average homeowner pays roughly $879 in school taxes using the 2016 mill rate. Using the information from the U.S. Census Bureau of 2,902 owner-occupied houses by seniors age 65 and over, that equals to roughly a projected loss of $2,550,858 in school tax revenue. For 2017, with the new mill rate, the projected loss would be $2,498,622. Using the above projected tax increase of 1.59 mil for those homeowners under the age of 65 and the 2016 mill rate of 0.01598, which would increase the school tax to 0.01725, and the above data of 55,000, it would show an increase in the school taxes of only $87.45 that a home with a fair market value of $150,000 would pay in additional school taxes, those under 65 that would not be eligible for the tax exemption. Of course, using the 2017 mill rate, increases would be smaller. And these amounts would be even lower given the variables, which are: some seniors feel that it is their obligation to pay school taxes and will not take the exemption. Many senior homeowners are part-time residents and will not be eligible for the exemption. One tax exemption plan under consideration has an income cap. The other one has a maximum assessed value. Since we really do not know the impact a senior tax exemption will actually have on the school taxes collected, a 5-year sunset clause has been built into the tax proposal plan. At the end of 5 years, if the loss of school tax revenue is substantial, the issue can be revisited and the appropriate adjustment can be made to the tax exemption law. The tax exemption cannot be taken away. It can only be adjusted, and that adjustment has to be placed on the ballot and approved by the voters. The sunset clause allows the county time to assess what the actual cost of the exemption will be. The cost of this exemption is projected to be anywhere from 3/4 mil to 1.5 mil increase. But because the actual cost could be higher than the projected cost, a sunset would allow an adjustment to be made at the end of a 5-year period. Data collected during this period will help determine if the exemption should be adjusted. The projected cost is not certain and cannot be calculated because the data needed to make an accurate projection does not exist. The projection is based on records maintained by the Pickens County government. Our projections assume that every person eligible for the exemption will claim it. We know this is not 100% true, but we do not know how far off the projection is. We will not know the true impact until the exemption has been passed and eligible persons have claimed it. The county will have much better data about the true impact and appropriate limits after it has been in effect for 5 years. The demographic composition of Pickens County may be different in 5 years than it is today. Changing demographics and changing legislation illustrates why we need to be able to revisit the tax exemption and respond to changing factors. The sunset would allow the county and/or the school board to respond to these changing factors. Many seniors have also expressed concern that they might be hit with higher taxes again in 5 years. If the landscape changes that we need to adjust the exemption in 5 years, the county and the school board is much more likely to examine income caps, assessment limits, and other tiered tax relief. A person at my last meeting objected to the 5-year sunset clause. She said that the school system can run into trouble before the 5 years were up. That's what the sunset clause is set up for, 5 years. There is no 2-year, 3-year, or 4-year sunset clause. Research has gone into this, and the research shows that it takes around 5 years to assess a true impact on the school system. The following information is also supplied in the same informational handout if you'd like to follow along. The 2016 school budget was $42,940,989. The school taxes levied or collected was $21,497,613. The QBE funds received from the state was $19,881,989. The 2017-18 school budget increased to $45,331,000. Total school taxes were about the same, $21,416,418. Monetary allotment from the state was $23,914,582. The point I'm trying to make here is, even though the school budget increased by almost $3 million, and the school taxes levied was approximately the same, that additional money of almost $3 million was allocated by the state. Our taxes were not increased to make up the difference. Other state funds and sources make up the balance of the school budget. According to Amy Smith, CFO of the school board, the money received from the state depends on student count. Right now, that count is approximately 4,453. The higher the student count, the more money received from the state. If the monetary allotment received from the state doesn't make up the difference between the budget and the amount collected by ad valorem taxes, then the school board has a few options, including grants, to make up the difference. Another problem that lessens the amount of money, tax money received by the schools is the fact that the county takes 2.5% from the taxes collected, which amounts close to $500,000. It is the county's fee for collecting the school taxes. It is our contention that Pickens County should choose to let the school board keep that money. According to the Tax Commissioner's Office, the number of homeowners claiming the current school tax exemption of less than $25,000 income is 456, with 64 disabled veterans claiming the present exemption. 4 years ago, there were approximately 477 people claiming the exemption. Because there was no cost of living adjustment inserted into the current plan, people's income has steadily increased over that 20-year period, and they are no longer eligible for the exemption. Remember, the current $25,000 income or less includes Social Security and pension retirement benefits, plus the income of anyone else living in the house. If this plan is allowed to continue, eventually no one will be eligible to claim it, because if you go $1 over the $25,000 limit, you no longer can claim the exemption. I wanted to read to you, I have a copy here of Georgia Tax Bill, House Bill 854. This is the law that was passed back and adopted in 3/24/97. And it states the law, and it's a law. It's like what we're trying to shoot for now. It's a law. It says that $25,000, which that person and all members of the family residing within the homestead received during the last taxable year. Now, the tax assessor's office is reading that as entire household, not all members of the family. That's another thing that's wrong with it. If someone's living in your house that's not a family member, that income should not be counted, but they are currently counting it. Anybody that lives in your household, their income is counted, and that's not right. It's wrong. That's one thing we're trying to change. A review of the surrounding counties' tax exemption laws shows that just about every one of those counties excludes Social Security and pension retirement benefits in their exemption requirements. I wanted to read some of them to you. There's a lot of them. Excuse me, I thought I was organized. Somebody disorganized me. Aha. Here it is. Cherokee, age 62, full exemption, $152,400 of assessed value, which means if you got a house that's less, that stays under $383,500 fair market value, you get total exemption. Gordon, 62 and over, Full exemption if fair market value is less than $193,268. Otherwise, $10,000 income excludes retirement and disability and Social Security up to the maximum benefit. Murray, age 62 and over. Full exemption, $10,000 income cap, retirement pensions, disability, and Social Security excluded up to the maximum benefit. Gilmer, age 65, full exemption. Pickens, $25,000 income cap, includes entire household and all sources of income. Whitfield, age 65, income cap, $35,000, all sources, husband and spouse only. At age 70, exemption amount goes up to $150,000. Union, $10,000 income cap, husband and spouse only, income from retirement sources, pensions and Social Security are excluded. Dawson, at age 65 or disabled, $65,000 off assessed value, school and county, up to 10 acres, with a net income of $50,000. At age 70, $120,000 off assessed value, no income requirement, up to 5 acres. At age 75, 100% exemption. White County, at age 65, net income of applicant and spouse less than $15,000, all sources of income. At age 70, gross income less than $25,000, excludes Social Security and retirement income. Lumpkin, at age 62, $20,000 income cap, $30,000 off assessed value at age 65 or disabled. You get $120,000 off and up to 5 acres and $60,000 off the assessed value. Cobb, you get full exemption. At present, Pickens County tax mill rate is 23.543. However, that doesn't take into account the backdoor tax increases, which would significantly increase the rate for many homeowners. A backdoor tax increase is when your taxes mill rate does not change, but the tax assessor's office increases the fair market value of your home, so actually your taxes increase without the mill rate changing. And it happens all the time in this county. An advantage to having additional tax exemption for the seniors is that it will force the county administrators to balance their budget and cut the fat from those budgets. It will also force the tax assessor's office to equalize the assessments of property, especially land values. A senior tax exemption will also force the county to become more accountable to its taxpayers and provide better training for the county tax administrators. There is a growing list of new buildings and homes being constructed or has been completed in Pickens County. A 12-unit senior living apartment building has been added to Rock Creek Manor area. In 2017, 127 permits were issued for new single-family detached homes in Pickens. That's an increase of 14% over the previous year. 2 new mini warehouses totaling 6,600 square feet has been added in the self-storage complex off Hubbard Road. Good Samaritan Medical Clinic has added approximately 7,000 square feet in a 2-story building on Samaritan Way. A Popeyes restaurant is being constructed on Highway 53 across from Wendy's Hamburgers. Hemlock's Landscaping is constructing a 3,200 square foot building on Refuge Road. Jasper Paint and Body is adding approximately 6,800 square feet to their building. New medical structures are being built in front of Prestige Primary Care. High Country Trolleys have purchased the old train depot and has renovated it for use. Trolley service from the depot will begin sometime this summer. It's not the railroad, not the scenic tour yet, but we're working on it. It shows they're going to do something with the old train depot. The Atlanta VA healthcare system announced they're bringing a VA clinic to Jasper and has confirmed the lease agreement totaling $4 million over a 10-year period, plus $2 million more for renovations. A new 80-bed assisted living home is being built behind Ingalls. Appalachian Guns has expanded its business. The building is approximately 15,000 square feet, including 3,000 square feet of retail space. Roland Tire Center has added a new business near Walmart. The County Airport Authority has given a thumbs up to a deal that will add more hangars to their already burgeoning business. Now, I know there's more that I haven't covered, but you get the general idea of the new construction that is going on in Pickens County. All of it increases the tax base and the tax revenues. Mill rate increases are based on the county proceeds. With all the new commercialism underway, there may not even have to be a tax increase to make up for the potential loss in revenue that additional senior tax exemptions would incur. Our opponents are missing a key point, and that is if the senior exemption situation was resolved, ultimately the county would experience more growth, which would lead to an increase in the tax rolls. And that is exactly this week when the new comprehensive plan study came out. That is one of them they're working on. It says promote area as a senior retirement destination, and the senior tax exemption will do that. Right now, many seniors are moving out of the county because of a lack of this meaningful senior tax exemption. I received 2 emails this week asking me to take them off my membership list because they moved to another county. And I emailed from people who had saw the Pickens Seniors for Change website and have struck Pickens County off as their list as a place they want to retire in. They choose a county that has a meaningful senior property tax exemption. I'd like to read a few of these to you. Now, these people have given me permission to read these, but I'm not going to give their names. I am 77 years old and have been working since I was 26 years old after serving in the U.S. Army and graduated from the University of Georgia. I am single with no children or grandchildren and have been paying school taxes for over 50 years. I feel that I need to have some kind of break with the school taxes since I am now retired from the state after working with them for 21 years. I have attended 2 of the last tax meetings, which now increase my property and school taxes. I am fed up with the commissioners and the state representatives who are supposed to be working for the voters who elected them to their positions. This school tax is a very sore topic to me, and hopefully the Pickens Seniors for Change can help us persuade the right officials to give us all a tax break. This one is a widow. She says, as a widow for several years now, if I had known that Cobb had this plan to save taxes for seniors, I would have moved to their county. I had no idea that certain counties do this. They do this in South Carolina also for seniors to give a tax break also. If I could even just pay half the school tax on my whole bill, anything. I live on one income with a husband deceased. When everything keeps going up like my HOA at Bent Tree, it's not easy to try to live in year after year. So I hope that a bill is presented to vote on for this county and see what everyone decides. May at some of our stores at Walmart, Kroger, someone could hand out some kind of brochures on this and how it helps those on limited incomes. I've paid into the system for years and it's time to get a break. My husband and I are contemplating a move out of Pickens County due to this issue. We love it here, but we've paid our share of school taxes. Paying these taxes now out of our retirement budget limits our ability to enjoy it. I am happy to sign this petition with hopes change will come before we are forced to move. This county needs a senior exemption from paying the full school tax. Most of us seniors are retired and we have lived on fixed incomes. I pay over $5,000 school tax each year and have never had any children in this system. I've been paying school tax in various places for over 45 years, and it is time for those still with income to pay the school taxes, school costs. The tax we pay to support school needs to not just rest on seniors. A tax on the value of our homes is unfair. If the home value goes up, we pay more each year. Schools need to be supported by businesses, those with children in the system, and sales and use taxes. Only a mile from my house, those in Dawson paid little or no school tax. I would move if I could afford it. Pickens is sucking the blood out of seniors. Rick Jaspers and the county commissioners need to give a major reduction in school tax to seniors, which could be based on Georgia income, maybe a maximum percentage or some other tax basis. Stop punishing our seniors for selecting Pickens as a place to live. I've got many more, but I guess that's all I'll read. You get the general idea of how people think about this. One of our plans, which one of our Pickens Seniors change plans, was to increase the income exemption to $40,000 and exclude Social Security and pension retirement income. The legislative committee wants to reduce that to $30,000 and exclude only Social Security and Medicaid benefits. But on the positive side, they do want to change the wording to read income of the deed holder only. That's what we need. If the county had provided for a cost of living adjustment in the current tax exemption plan of $25,000 or less income, it would have increased over the past 20 years to somewhere between $33,000 and $34,000. So the $30,000 the state is advocating is going backward, not forward. The $40,000 income cap that we are proposing has to be part of the proposed income cap legislation. Our other tax proposal plan calls for $153,400 off the assessed value of the home. The representatives in the Capitol want to reduce that to $40,000, which is totally unacceptable to us. And if you look at your little handout, you can see the $40,000, it helps no one. I mean, you'd have to have, for it to benefit you, you'd have to have a house less than $100,000 fair market value. If you look on your little paper there under assessed value comparison, it shows you the difference. We would compromise, our group would be willing to compromise yet again, and lower the amount to $100,000, but no more. That's as low as we want to go. The $40,000 is once again, just like the current exemption, designed to help very few people. And with the yearly increase in the fair market value of our homes and a plan without a cost of living adjustment, that $40,000 would disappear real quick, be back where we started. One of the most important part of our tax plans was to make sure the tax law included a cost of living adjustment clause, or COLA. Any plan that comes before the taxpayers must include a cost of living adjustment. And if these plans are not worded exactly as we have laid them out, the tax assessor's office will just keep increasing the fair market value of our homes until virtually no one gets to take advantage of the exemption. We'll be right back where we were. And we have proven that a meaningful senior tax exemption is viable in Pickens County, and there should be little compromise on what we want. Many of us have been paying into the education system for 50+ years. We've seen our children graduate high school. We've seen them graduate college. We've seen our grandchildren graduate high school. And many of us have seen our grandchildren graduate college. I think we have already given enough, especially since we seniors are no longer part of the workforce and live on fixed incomes. Now, I've made copies and with the phone numbers and the emails of all the state legislatures for everyone to peruse. You must contact these men and tell them that the committee's current washing down of our tax exemption proposals are unacceptable, and that any plan has to include a cost of living adjustment clause. You've got all the information there. Email them, write them a letter, phone them, let them know that we will not accept any washing down of our tax proposals. And if you or someone you know is not registered to vote, I have voter registration forms on the table at the back of the room. All you have to do is fill it out, sign it, and mail it in. The form includes its own postage paid envelope. The primary voting is May the 22nd. This is very important. You must show up and vote May the 22nd on these straw polls. You have until April the 24th to register to vote in the primary. The deadline to register to vote in the general election in November is October 9th. Early voting for the primary begins April the 30th, with May 18th being the last day of early voting. Saturday voting is scheduled for May the 12th. That is my presentation now. Do I have any questions for people? Yes, sir.
I'm confused by this ballot proposal option 1 or 2. It's clear that if we vote under option 2, if you vote yes, then that establishes this committee.
Yes.
If we vote no on option 2, that's essentially the same as voting yes for option 1.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Now, on the other hand, if someone votes no on option 1, then that's eliminating the current senior exemption that exists, so there would be none. Is that the intention here?
No.
I don't think it's the
I think you get a chance to vote for one of them, not both of them. You can.
Well, I know, but let's say we vote somebody votes option 1 and votes no. What's the significance of that vote?
How will that work?
Just for clarification on this printout, we've got the yes and the no. We got the final ballots, David and I did, back from the state and from the voter registration. It will not have a yes or no on each one. It'll be a simple vote for one of the two. Is how it'll be working. This was what we worked up, submitted to the state, that now they call ballot builder. Once the ballot builder submitted everything for the entire ballot, it'll be on May 22nd.
So then when we vote, you have the option of voting for one or the other, a yes, one or
Correct.
the other. Period.
Correct.
Good question, good question.
Yeah.
Okay.
I told you, I've seen so many versions of these. I was sure that that one was the one.
The state ballot builders are the final say. That's what had to come out. So we just
That
have
makes
that.
a lot more sense than this one right here.
But it's basically worded the same. You don't want to leave it as is.
You don't want a yes, no for each of these options.
Right.
It doesn't work.
That's a good question. Yes, sir?
Yeah, I'm curious about the timeline in option 2. It seems it's going to be exceedingly short, given that the vote is May 22nd. You have a lot of interested parties that are going to have to participate to come up with a recommendation by next January.
Well, it actually,
to the 2019 session.
actually that time period after the 22nd till the general election, I think we got to have the tax plan ready by October to get on the general election ballot.
It won't be on the general. It will not be on the general election ballot in November. If the straw poll passes, say option 2 is the choice that's picked by the majority of voters in the county, then we'll move to form the committee, and we will submit legislation in January to the 2019 legislative session. That's how it works. And automatically the wording will be on the ballot. The commission will submit it to state representatives.
So if we get on the ballot in 2020, I guess, right?
Yes, sir.
So we got actually 2 more years?
Yep, it's a long road to get things changed the way you want them.
Yeah, that part wasn't explained to me.
For clarification, so if somebody votes yes for option 2, then that leaves the committee the option to submit whatever they want to submit to the state for the state assembly to decide on, and then we just end up with whatever they decide, or we get to vote on this again.
You will get to vote on it again.
But there will be intervention on our part.
By your part, who exactly do you mean?
Pickens Seniors for Change. I have like 2,000 members. We each correspond. We work on this.
But for clarification from a legislative standpoint, the Democratic Party of Pickens County and the Republican Party are the ones putting it on the ballot. So we will work to create the committee of stakeholders in the county, citizens from all 4 corners of the county and different aspects to help structure whatever we're going to take to Atlanta.
There will be 5, or how many in the committee?
We're looking more like 24.
Okay, good.
I know it seems like a long time, but actually I've already been working on this for 3 years. So it takes a long time.
We're in the front.
You're wanting us all to die off.
Do you mind if I have a few minutes to take the other side on voting number 1? 3 minutes? Not about 5. We've been listening for an hour. I need about 5, maybe 10 at the most. I see some folks in here that I know. My name is Bob Hale. Some of y'all, a lot of y'all, know Ms. Williamson, read the op-ed that I wrote 3 or 4 months ago in the paper in opposition to changing the tax. I was called a disrespectful youth in some of the letters to the editor. I'm on Social Security, I'm not a disrespectful youth. Let me tell you why we should be paying the school tax. We, not y'all, we. I'm on Social Security, I'm retired too. We should be paying the school tax because every one of us, when we were younger, that had children, somebody carried the freight for you. The older people did. It cost $5,000, and I had the exact figures, matter of fact, I got the exact figures. It cost about $5,000 a year, actually more than that, $5,600. It cost $5,300 to send, cost the county, the school board has to spend $5,300 to send a child, to put a child through school. The average school tax portion of the average tax bill in this county is $1,300. So who's paying for those kids now? The $4,000 that parents aren't paying. Y'all. But when you were younger and you had kids in school and you were paying, it wouldn't be exactly the same. It wouldn't be $5,000 and it wouldn't be $1,000. They'd be lower then. But you didn't pay for your kids to go to school. You paid part of it when you paid the school tax. And the older people, the people like us now, they picked up the freight for you. Now, you don't want to pick up the freight for the young people coming up.
All the other counties around us.
Excuse me, nobody interrupted Kirby. I'll say so. Okay, I'll address that. The fact is, as far as what's right, somebody carried the freight for all of our kids when we were younger. The older people did. It's time that we do the same for the younger people now. And if you want to get into, should you get rid of the school tax for people that don't use it? I've heard that argument from Ms. Williamson in one of her emails. We don't have kids in school anymore. We shouldn't pay it. Okay, are we going to say gay people that don't create it? They don't have to pay their school portion. There's not a business in this county that has children. The employees have children, and those employees pay school taxes. The business doesn't have any children. How about if we get rid of the school tax on those businesses? Watch your other taxes skyrocket that. You can't just pick and choose. That's a user fee when you say, I'm not using it, so I don't have to pay for it. That's a user fee. If you do it, that's not how taxes are supposed to be. Taxes spread the burden across society. Now, is there waste in the school system? Could the taxes be lower? Probably. I personally don't like public education. I consider it to be abuse of children. But we're not going to get rid of it. And as long as it's there, society as a whole benefits. Society as a whole should pay. A couple other points.
How much more time is it?
You had your 5 minutes.
Excuse me. I asked for 5 to 10. I've had 5 so far. We listened for an hour. Over an hour. You're not willing to listen for 5 to 10 minutes? This lady back here Other counties around that have it. Yeah, you don't have to go very far. Gilbert County's got it. Go look at their schools. They're falling down. They can't afford to keep them up. Murray County has it. She's right. I've got grandchildren in Murray County schools. Those schools are garbage.
What about Forsyth?
Okay, somebody else.
For fake class!
Yeah, that was one of my emails I got from someone.
And you expect us to feel sorry for somebody that's got a house that big?
Well, they wouldn't get the tax break you would.
I wouldn't get the tax break.
Like the assessed value of 100,000 would come off of the 40%. They would pay a little bit less taxes, but not much. So the lower price fair market value that your house is, the more advantage you're going to get. If you got a house that's worth $250,000, it's $100,000 off of the 40% of that fair market value. So you get a big tax break.
Yeah, but why should somebody with a house that big get a tax break? They can afford it.
Well, I can't agree or disagree with you since I don't know their circumstances.
All this conversation, that's all you got out of it.
Well, it seems like to me that your group thinks we're a bunch of cussing hicks up here.
No,
We're
sir.
very smart.
No, sir, we don't.
We don't want somebody to come in here and make it like where you were wrong.
I'm a Cherokee County grad.
We want you to come in here and settle in with us and
That's what I want.
assimilate yourself to our lifestyle.
I just want to get rid of that $25,000 income bracket maximum that counts everybody in the house's income. That's what I'm trying to work to get rid of.
No, you're trying to get rid of everybody's school taxes that's over 65.
No, sir, not really.
Have any questions?
I'm back on the 2019 session. What happens if the study group does not come up with a recommendation for the 2019 session?
We will, the committee will come up with a recommendation by the 2019.
So we're in the first group.
Yes, sir. Again, as we've said from the beginning, the answer is somewhere in the middle, and that's the reason I'm proud that the chairman of the Democratic Party has joined in so that every citizen of the county will have a voice in that decision. And hopefully what we help write and get past that capital will be a benefit to the people who need it the most in this county.
I can speak loud. You mentioned another committee. Can you clarify what committee it is that's talking about the $40,000 cap, et cetera?
Well, Mr. Bell can do that. I look at it this way. I gave birth to this baby, and I raised this baby, and now I've got to give it up. A lot of this stuff is out of my hands now. I can give them suggestions. I can be there and demand this, and demand that. It's got to be this, it's got to be that. Here's the figures to prove it. But actually, I have lost control of my baby.
So what committee are you
To
talking about?
clarify your question, the committee that was formed with the members in the Republican Party Executive Committee as well as the Democratic Committee, we took the recommendations and requests of the Seniors for Change, looked at those math formulas, and that's why we came up with the study committee, because it is far too much data that needs to be gone through in order to formulate a good legislative plan. We couldn't just put a number out there and that be the set point, because we need data that is not being offered to us at this point by the commissioners of the tax office. So we want the voice of the people to be heard.
This is a very long, drawn-out process.
Is it always that way?
Yes, I've learned. I've learned so much about taxes, and now sometimes I think, why did I start this? I thought it would be easier, but it is a long, involved process. And I know people, I am myself, are anxious to get this going and get it on the ballot and get it so we can get some tax breaks. But this is a very long draw. The government moves at a snail's pace. We don't get anything, they don't get anything done fast. It is very, very slow. And I know it seems like it's taking too long, but the 3 years I've been working on it, and I still got another year and a half to go. So it's been a long time for me. It's like I've told some people, I could write a book on this. It's like everything you always wanted to know about property taxes, but now sorry you asked.
I wanted to address something that the gentleman behind me said about the new turf field at the high school. I've taught for 21 years at Pickens High School, and I know you were big on the cost of living raises. Well, I haven't had one in over 15 years.
No, this was a cost of living adjustment.
Yeah, I haven't had one in my salary schedule in over 15 years. We're still using textbooks in my department that we bought back in '07. Okay, and the turf field, that's not coming out of the school budget. It's coming out of the SPLOST money, and that's part of a whole renovation. I didn't see many of you Tuesday night at the town hall meeting for school safety that they held, and that, along with moving some of the other athletics to the high school, will help with school safety. And your tax money, except for the SPLOST that we voted for as residents of Pickens County, and if passed, that's where the money for the turf is coming from.
Also, I have a question.
Okay.
I thought that splash money was supposed to go for a new school.
We voted on that.
Right. But that was the splash money that was supposed to go to a new school.
Well, it wasn't designated for a specific, but it wasn't designated for a specific purpose.
But there was an extra part of that splash money that was on the bottom of it for like $10 million. I don't remember the exact amount. But if they overused that tax money and they didn't have enough for a school, our taxes would go up to take care of that $10 million. There was an extra little part on that part. So that means you guys can, school board people, I don't have a problem with teachers' salary. I really do not. But why do we have to have fake grass? That's stupid.
To answer your question, that allows a lot of sports besides just football and others to use that field.
Okay, do Cherokee County have fake grass?
Yes, a lot of every almost every schools that we play have turf fields.
Okay, that's fine.
Can I answer your question as a landscaper? Because real grass is a lot more expensive to take care of than fake grass is to put down once.
Don't you have to have special equipment, like shoes and stuff like that? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I just have a question on the, I was wondering on this committee that you're going to get, if I'm interested on being in it and I don't know anybody in the Republican or Democratic Party, how would I be able to be on that committee?
You would be on the committee itself, but you would be part of a group that we are going to Atlanta to discuss this with that committee and try to sway them over with our.
So I wouldn't be on the committee?
You can. You could be on the committee, but you could be a part of the group that's going down to the Capitol to make sure the legislation drafted is what we want.
So why couldn't I be on the committee? I still don't understand. I mean, I don't mind going down there and...
That's Will's answer. That's Will's.
Hello.
As we stated before, the Democratic Committee and the Republican Committee will be looking for citizens who will be on the committee, as well as business owners and other stakeholders.
I mean, how will we know? How will we know?
We'll have a sign-up sheet on the website. We'll advertise it so that citizens who wish to be a part of it can. I've already had an insurance actuary who's offered his services for free to be able to help us run data. And I've already had a couple of real estate people who have offered to be on the committee as well. So they're well versed in talking about tax values and home values.
Is there a criteria for the committee?
I'm sorry?
A criteria for the committee?
We haven't set that yet. That's something that we will do.
It will be published?
Yes, ma'am. It will be published.
What website would you apply on?
We'll have it posted on both the Democratic website and the Pickens County Republican website.
And the progress?
Can I just make a statement and thank you very much, Lee Williamson, for all the work that you've done. And I know you have taken so long to but I do want to tell you that you are definitely appreciated in this county. And if nothing else, it makes people working for the county to start thinking about budgets, which is long overdue in this county.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Anybody else got any more questions before we call it a night?
So the primary effort that we should all be on tonight, meeting here with, is to pound on Rick, pound on Steve Gooch, pound on Chuck Payne, right?
And Rick Jeffers is sitting behind.
Hey Rick, I'm gonna pound on you.
Somebody have a question?
I just want to make clarification about option number 2. Is that the only way that we currently have to say increase the income cap for poor seniors? Like if for example, I do not oppose increasing the income cap from 25,000 to 35,000, whatever it would have been if it had been increased along and along. But I don't want to just flat exempt everybody based solely upon age, like with zero, you know, oh, you're over 65, you don't pay taxes anymore.
Oh, that's not what we're asking for. We're asking for a meaningful senior tax exemption. A lot of people will be exempt. A lot of people won't be able to claim it, well, except for the assessed value.
Okay, but if one does favor, say, like not, like option 1, this item C here, gross income $25,000 or less, obviously that should be increased. So the only way to do that is to choose option 2 and then go have more meetings with more committees.
Correct, and we also want to get rid of the income requirement, all income and everybody in the house.
Sure, okay, I understand that part. But if you choose option 1, you're basically saying, this is it, there's no change.
Exactly, we don't want to do that. That's what we're trying to get rid of.
Option 2, we will have more discussions. So it won't necessarily be, okay, we get everything we want, and you know what I'm saying?
The straw poll that's on May 22nd is basically to get an example of how many people are really interested in a senior tax exemption. It's not, it is forming the committee. The committee will be formed to talk about it and draft legislation. But it gives the state people down at the Capitol something to go by. Okay, there's 3,000, 4,000 people voted for this, so we need to do something about it. They're really interested in it. It's just, the straw poll is just to show the interest in what the people want.
Okay, and the committee will be public and there will be meetings like this one?
Oh yes, there'll be many more meetings.
Okay, that's all I wanted to make sure of, was that it won't just be a blanket adoption of everything proposed here with no choice.
Yeah, just, you know, no number 1, don't leave it as is. You want to take the second one, which will establish the committee. Now, I know what it says, leave it as is, like in option 1, but that is just leaving it as is temporarily for the people who now take advantage of that exemption. Right. But then the study committee.
To hear what the citizens say.
Yes, yes. No, we're not anywhere near through.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, ma'am.
Will you go through the timeline all the way to where we see it on our tax bill? Starting with May the 22nd straw poll, and then give us the deadlines that come.
Well, I know after May the 22nd, according to what kind of votes we get, the committee will start being formed and go to work. But Will could give you some information on that on the timeline.
I'm sorry.
It changes daily.
I didn't understand, I didn't hear the question.
Could you give us a breakdown, just a timeline? May the 22nd is the straw poll, blah, blah, blah happens next, and then all the way up till we see it on our tax bill.
I don't know if I could do that.
I told you, it changes daily.
I actually, and somewhat in jest, but I actually said that I was going to bring the Schoolhouse Rock video on I Am a Bill, so that we can all kind of remember that from school. Even though I went to Catholic school, military school, my parents paid for all 7 of my siblings to go. I didn't go to public school, but that's a whole different situation. The timeline ideally or tentatively would be whatever passes on straw poll in May 22nd, we would form the committees by July, after 4th of July holidays, and start working on it so that we could have it ready to submit the 1st of October to our state representatives, state legislation for their January session to start. Because there is a timeline to drop bills, the terminology at the state capitol.
And you'll put that on the website?
Yes, sir. It will be
And then what
published.
happens after January?
Then whatever passes through the 40-day session, if something passes, then the governor would sign it or not sign it, and it would go into effect July 1 of 2019.
So does that mean that we do not then get a vote on what the committee sends?
What is put forth to the committee is what will go to the state legislation.
And
So we do not get a vote on that?
Yes, ma'am. You don't get a vote, but you get a say. I'm going to be gathering lots of people to take down to the Capitol, to lay our plans out to this committee. We will be spending a lot of time at the Capitol.
So our only vote is just straw poll?
So far, until the legislation gets passed.
Yeah, we don't get to vote again.
You run by the stay with what you have, or the committee be formed to make changes.
Any other questions before we call it quits? That's it? Well, thank you for coming. I appreciate your interest. Y'all have a good night.
One other thing I'd like to say, May 22nd is your statewide primary for the Republican primary and the Democratic primary. I know most of us are all today one-issue voters, but every state office is up for re-election. Please make sure that you do vote and vote the entire ballot. Thank you.
Yeah, early voting begins April 30th.